Alright, before you get angry, I'm getting my hair done tomorrow. Shut the fuck up. I'm depressed, so we don't have energy for a full smooch. Anyway, this dude basically saw my social media and he slid in the DMs, and I was like, he's pretty cute. He's got everything I find attractive in a man. But, there's things I don't know about him. But either way, we started talking a bit more today. He had a bit more free time. And I kind of thought to myself, like the way conversation was going, I just kind of thought to myself, like, one, he was kind of boring. Two, he was pretty dry. And I just kind of was like, I don't know. Maybe we should just rip off this band aid early. Because if you start talking about yourself and your flaws in your life, like, off the bat, it's gonna be 10 times more easy than like, ooh, what kind of job do you do? Electrician? That's so fun. No, 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 no. And kept going on and on. Like, I'm not saying you have to tell me about your incessant mommy issues off the fucking bat, but it's like, hey, let's spice things up. And I guess I kind of asked him, I was like, did you look at my social media at all? Like, before you DM'd me by chance? He said, yeah, I did, a little. Why? And I was like, oh, so the whole gold digger who's been threatened with restraining orders thing, that didn't scare you off at all? I kind of thought to myself, like, who would call this guy a fucking bull? Because he just dove in headfirst to red flags, didn't he? And he was like, it took him a second, but then he was like, oh, well, it's not like I have much gold to dig in the first place. And also, on top of that, he was like, oh, and who cares that you've had to threaten a few people with restraining orders before? And I thought to myself, one, you're a dumbass. Because if you know that you are a copper mine, why are you trying to attract a gold digger? You just thought you'd be the exception? No, I like men with money. Or, like, of any, like, if you have the means to provide and are willing to spend, then cool. Why would you go, oh, this chick's a gold digger? I don't plan to give her any gold, and I'm going to approach her. I should call him a cunt, but I'm just being really, really nice. No, I could call him a cunt. It's not like he lives anywhere near me. Also, for context, he was trying to say that our first date could be in, like, Napa, basically. So he was like, I will take you from your area and drive you all the way to, like, Sonoma County, and we can, like, you can watch me perform on stage, and then, maybe sleep over, and the next day we can do anything you want. And I was like, it's a tempting idea, but for a lot of reasons, it's like, that's a huge risk, that's a huge gamble. I don't know anything about this dude's personality, and I want to make sure and ensure that it's going to be good first. Like, I wanted to get a feel for his personality. And how do I put this? Also, because on my profile, I talk very in depth about, like, how I'm a celibate person, how I don't have sex, or unless I'm paid specifically. But that my main goal is, like, if someone actually is interested in dating me, like, naturally, then simply put, you're not having sex with me. You're taking me out on dates, you're getting to know me, and you will wait until I truly, truly, truly feel safe and comfortable with you, so that the end result of sex will not, like, totally destroy me and cripple me as a human being. And plenty of people try the, ooh, I promise I'll be different, I'll text you back the next day, you won't get crippled with me, I'm a good, like, no, nigga, shut the fuck up. It never, like, cause niggas don't keep their promises when they get what they want, and then they want to complain that I'm crashing out at their mom's house. Like, don't do that. Anyway, moving on. Eventually, but as I was saying, it's like, yeah, why would you see one, you saw a gold digger and you were like, ah, awooga, I'm gonna get interested. And two, you saw several. How did you somehow misconstrue I have been threatened with 8 restraining orders as, ooh, she has threatened people with restraining orders? I had to say, no, I'm the one who gets threatened. And he was like, why is that? And I kind of thought to myself, this dude really has not done any, like, you could just tell that it's like, oh, so he just watches a video of mine on my Instagram. And he will just, like, stare at the video and not read any of the words. And he went, awooga, hot girl near me. I should DM her. Instead of, oh, the captions explains perfectly in both the video and the actual caption about why she's insane, what she does when she is obsessed with someone, the fucking clinically insane shit she's done. Just, gee, it's like, and how do I put this? We got to talking more, let's just say we're not gonna meet, and at first I was like, oh, I scared this dude off, didn't I? But then I thought to myself, no, it's good that I scared him off, because he's fucking pathetic. Also, he gave the same energy as people on Bumble who go, this chick, I like her photos. I'm not going to read her profile in the slightest. And then I'm going to complain when she actually, like, upholds the standards set in her profiles. Like, dudes will be like, because how do I put this? I've had that happen. I've had men swipe with me on an app. Oh, I remember this dude once off the bat. My profile didn't even give massive gold digger energy. It just talked about my natural interests and stuff. And then his opening move on his profile was something like, ooh, I'm looking for someone or his opening move was along the lines of, "Oh, what would your ideal first date be like?" And I said, "Oh, my ideal first date would be something that's like a mix between exciting and relaxing. So then it could be like a really fun, like a really nice relaxing dinner, followed by like a fun comedy show to spice things up, or like some sort of event, like something that usually people don't do before." And then he tried to be like, "That sounds like a gold digger to me." It's like, no, that's the bare minimum. Dinner and a show is a very normal thing. Also, why are you 50 and trying to hook up with 20-year-olds if you're that scared of a first date being anything but a coffee or a walk? Pussy. And another dude similar happened. I remember it was like his opening move was like, "What are some things on your bucket list?" And I said, "Oh, well, something I've always wanted to do is like a hot air balloon ride." And I actually found this place that actually for pretty cheap you can like rent out cars and drive around the racetrack. That's something that's on my personal bucket list. And he tried to be like, "Oh, sounds like a gold digger." And it's like, well, it's like, how do I put this? One, you are in your like late 40s or 50s trying to match with women as young as me. So I think you're the one who's actually digging for something that they can't have, sir. You're hoping for women to be willing to date you for free. And then, two, I also told him I never asked you to buy me a single thing. Your opening move said that you wanted someone to say what's on their bucket list. I said something that's on my bucket list. I didn't ask you for a single thing. And then he got mad, and then I reported him. And yeah, now he's off the app. But yeah. Anyway, let's just say, but yeah, it's like, "Sir, you're like 50 trying to try your luck to match with women in there like who are like 21, 22, 23, and then you're being mad that it's like, oh shit, she expects like she wants nice dinners and to like explore like new areas. I can't do that. What the fuck?" Like, I don't know. Some of these niggas can't even plan dates, and it's weird. I don't know. Let's just say the amount of times I've had to shade men because they would match with me on Bumble or something, and then they'd be all, "Oh, I'm not really looking to date." That's wild because my profile clearly said I was looking to date. Or like they're like, my opening move can be about like, "Hey, what would your ideal date with me be like?" If you, based off of what you see on my profile. And this was a great opening move because it would kind of like sift out the intentional from the unintentional. Because the niggas who are natural romantics, they'd be like, "Oh, I would take you out to like this cool event I've been wanting to go to," or "Oh, I'd take you out to this nice dinner," or "I'd go here with you." The unintentional would make excuses and be like, "I'm gonna, oh, I don't even know you like that. IDK, LOL." Or they'd be like, "Hey, hi." And then even if sometimes I would be like, "Huh." Like if a guy did say something else that wasn't my opening move, I would eventually trail back to it, and then I'd be like, "Okay, out of curiosity, like, did you see my opening move?" They'd be like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay, well, what kind of date could you imagine for us?" And then they'd end up being back to, "Oh, I don't know you like that," or, "Oh, I don't really plan dates," or, "Oh, I don't know, maybe like a walk or something." Or like, "We could get really drunk and fuck," and it's like, "Oh, see, you are the unintentional types." I am very intentional even with my flings and my everything because I know how I am as a person and I'm secure in myself. And I know my wants, my needs, and my desires pretty damn well. And the last thing I would need is some sexy, blue eyed, fucking 5 o'clock shadow, strong jaw lined, tall, big. I could tell his dick's big too, by the way. Like, he had a video of him on stage. That pecker was, ooh, it was just like in your face. It's like, damn, I can't avoid it. But simply put, it's like the last thing I want for a nigga, and this is why I'm always intentional with men in conversations, is because the last thing I would need is to be miles from home with some nigga in like Napa Valley. And then he's mad because he's not gonna get some pussy from me. Or he's just like, "What do you mean you've done this? What do you mean you're like that?" What, or like, because it's like, imagine a dude is like, "This girl's super hot. I'm gonna have a whole fantasy I make in my head about her, how she's some classy, elegant, prim and proper lady who has never swore in her entire life and is entirely perfect in every single way, shape, and form, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with her, and I will never see her so much as say like crap or oh my god." And then they meet me, and it's like, yeah, simply put, I don't like, yeah. So this dude kind of like has a similar energy to the dudes who could just like see your opening move on Bumble and ignore it, or dudes who don't read profiles on dating apps and then complain that the girl acts and expects like what she was like in the dating app, and then they get confused and shocked. Definitely not what I needed. And so I'm disappointed a little bit because it's like, oh, this guy seemed kind of cool. But then again, it's like, he's not really much of a catch, because it's like, simply put, like, a dude who has a crush on you or like some sort of interest in you, he'd be like, oh, she's cute. I'm gonna scroll a few pictures and like get to know about her. Like, what's she been up to? What's her life like? And if he had done that in the first place before DMing me or even after DMing me, it would have saved him a lot of time. But he didn't, because he just wanted to. I don't And also, how do I put this? I know people usually put their best foot forward in dating, but I don't know, like, how do I put this? Imagine I didn't have this conversation with him today, and then a week goes by, and then he's finally like, oh, what's Tamia up to? And he checks my story, and then he sees me with my hair like this, or looking however it might look, because we never know. I am getting my hair braided, but it could look however, because I don't always have luck with braiders. And I'm just saying, if we got like 4 days in, and then right before our trip to Napa, he would have been like, oh, I didn't know you were like this, I changed my mind, then he would have been like, fucked. So I prefer like it's like which one's worse? A dude who off the bat sees the red flags and then thinks they won't apply to him? A dude who doesn't check for any flags at all. Like, that's just stupid. Yeah. And so I kind of appreciate that I asked, because it saved a lot of time and energy, and it made me realize, I do want someone who's intentional. Like, I did kind of exaggerate a bit with him. I said, I want someone who's obsessed with me, like the type of nigga who's gonna accidentally, like, scroll so far on my Instagram that he finds photos from 2019 or some shit. Obviously an exaggeration, but probably didn't play out well over text. But then again, people do that. And yeah, I like someone who actually is, like, mutually obsessed with me, because then it's like a healthy equilibrium. Matching each other's like their frequency. I'm not trying to be like, because how do I put this? I already could tell I was getting a little bit overly attached to him. I woke up, he was one of the first things I thought about, and I was staring at his photos and his Facebook and his Instagram and trying to research all I could about him. I found his fucking address and everything. I can get very intense when it comes to romance, and I'm aware of that, which is why I've been trying to scare people off by being as open as I can with my red flags. And then out of curiosity, people have approached me, and it's like, some spiritual ladies, some spiritual people actually have been saying, like, hey, now's the time to start dating. If you think, even if you don't feel like you're ready for it, love will find you one way or another. So keep your options open and always be open to it. So I thought, maybe I could give this dude a chance. He seems relatively sweet. Or not sweet, but he seemed like, okay, he was just cute. That's kind of it, but he was kind of boring. And yeah, it's like, I recognized my limits, I recognized my wants, and I kind of thought to myself, I want someone who's intentional. I'm not the type of person, and also not everyone's the type of person you can just do an impromptu trip with, even if you think you know them. Like, I'll put it to you like this. With Lake Tahoe guy, the guy who took me to Lake Tahoe impromptu on July 4th, that was very lucky, but we talked for several days leading up to it, and I got to know a decent amount about them. Even then, some shit came up by surprise. Like, they told me that they've been in orgies before. They told me that they do cocaine sometimes. Like, they told me, like, some stuff that wasn't perfect. And sure, it got to come out more naturally, but it was still kind of like, like, I don't know if I would have wanted to know that stuff beforehand, because maybe I would have said no to the trip. But either way, I had a fun time with him, because it's like, okay, this is like a metrosexual dude who respects my boundaries, and we talked about everything candidly for the most part, and I enjoyed that. But what didn't work for me, like the last 2 dates I've had with dudes, I actually have a whole video from this date I had with a dude that I still have yet to post, mainly just for my if anyone makes a biography about me or whatever, or is curious on it. I had a breakthrough in that video. I kind of just, to put it simply, this dude, like, I went on a date with someone recently, despite being in my not trying to date people era, and the reason I did that is because, I don't know, he was really cute, and it was a Friday, and I had nothing better to do, and he also was like, hey, and I can take you out to that weekend themed concert, like, party thing you're going to afterwards. And I said, okay. I sent him like, he had multiple photos of me. My makeup was accurate to my profile. I looked great. I looked killer. I smelled like a caramel s'more. All that. And let's just say this dude who I was talking to so happily before, he just got really, really cold and abrasive and treated me like shit the entire fucking date. And just clearly didn't want to be there. And it was just like, oh, it's like, the worst person you can be sitting next to at a comedy spot, basically. And then continuing on, it's like then I had a date with another dude who I told about the first dude. I was like, the first dude was so awkward because he didn't even try. And I told him I'm taking a break from dating, especially hard because I crashed out really hard about that dude to the point where the police had to call me and be like, stop harassing this man. And I didn't tell him that last part, but still. But I did say, like, yeah, the last date I had really killed most of my energy and optimism for dating, and it really fucked with my self-esteem. I just would rather not risk, like, dating. He was like, ooh, well. And then next thing you know, it was Wednesday. He was like, hey, I want to meet you. I said, oh, are you sure you don't want to wait until, like, we could have a proper sit down dinner date, like somewhere nice and classy, and get to know each other more naturally? Do you really just want to? And he's like, no, I want to meet you here. I can just meet you at this one spot I know that you said you hang out with, and we can hang out today at that comedy mic. And I was like, okay. Guess what? Most awkward time ever. Most awkward dinner ever. It's like the nigger heard exactly what I hated from the last date and just decided I should be that as well. And then he was super cold and abrasive. You couldn't ask him any fucking question about his life without him acting like you were like doing something wrong. I just, like, Jesus. And yeah, let's just, and that was people who were local to my area. So it's like, okay, these are just people who are like within like the city or the next city over. I can't just travel like across state lines or several cities over with just any random dude, because people can be disappointing. Hell, this one dude who I thought I knew pretty well for like 3 to 5 years, I remember we had our first date recently. We went to IKEA. He was so fucking, it's like I told him that I have a thing for hygiene. I don't like when people smell bad. I like, and my specific artistic triggers, and also like, he also knew like my standards for what I like in men and what I like in people treating me and whatever. And this nigga just took it as like some sort of test to just show up musty as fuck and do whatever he could to just be the opposite of everything I wanted. And then you know what that got him? Fucking embarrassed online. The first thing I did when I got home was I dogged that motherfucker out. I said he was rude as shit and also smelled like shit. He was a terrible, terrible person. And I went in depth dragging his ass online, and we haven't spoken since. It's like, damn, nigga. Like, really, this is what I mean when I say, how do you fail an open book test? All the answers were laid out in front of you, and you didn't. So, this is why that guy turned me off. And it's just like, okay. So, here I was with this guy who I just stopped talking to today. The one I'm making this video about in the first place. And it's like, sir, so you mean to tell me you just didn't look at any of the captions? You didn't bother to read? You don't read? That's not a good sign? You didn't bother to like see what I talk about, what I like, what I dislike, the type of things I do, the type of things I am against. You just went, awooga, pretty lady, boing, must DM her. And then you DM'd me and then immediately went, hey, you should travel like 90 miles away from home and hang out with me. And it's like, you didn't do, you just stupid. Just no. I like a certain level of like intentional and effort, and I feel like it's just like, he didn't bother to like read up on me or like anything about me at all. Anyway, I guess it's better that this conversation got had, because then it's like, how do I put this? Because the last thing I would need to do is be 90 miles away from home, as some dude is just like, ooh, why isn't she putting out after I paid for dinner? Like, what the fuck? This ain't cool. Or, oh, why is she talking about this or doing that? Like, I don't know. But I guess I get to spare him, because then he gets to save his wallet and his gas money, and I get to save myself from like someone who is potentially gonna be low effort or not good to me. So all's well and ends well. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye.